Hey guys, how are you? It is Tuesday. It is Tuesday, March 3rd. I cannot believe we're already in March already. It's kind of crazy. If you saw my Instagram stories, I went out for my first run today on the boardwalk, and it was awesome. Wasn't too cold, a little windy, but wasn't too cold, and it was great. If you are catching me here live, please say hello. If you're catching me on the replay, please put in hashtag replay. I always love to know who's taking time out of their day to watch, and I am grateful for each and every one of you. So for those of you who do not know me, I am Susan Eckstein. I'm an empowerment coach and speaker, and I lead others to act with courage so they can reconnect to their power and experience joy, and then they can help others find theirs. That is my goal, and that's why I put up posts and do videos and things like this, because I want everybody to realize that you guys could be doing so much more with your life if you get a little courageous. So I want to talk to you about living in pain. And I want to share a conversation that I had with my son Nicholas last week. He was struggling with something, and we were sort of doing this round robin thing where he was really sticking to his guns about this issue that he was dealing with, and he was seeing things in one way, right? Only seeing things his way. And he said to me, well, Mom, so-and-so's got to change, and so-and-so's got to change. And he gave me a list of about 6 people who he said had to change because he was miserable. These people had to change their behaviors, what they were thinking about, what they were saying, all of these things. And I looked at him and I said, Nicky, what if the whole thing here, what if the solution here was that you changed? And he looked at me and he got really heated and he's like, Mom, do you know how hard it is to change? Change is hard. And I can laugh about it now because it's like, okay, yes, it is hard. And he's 17 years old, going on 30, and he's about to get into adulthood. But what made me laugh about this was that I sit across from so many people and have great conversations with so many people who want their lives to be so much different than they are. And when I ask them, how can it be different? I get a list of all of the things outside of themselves and people outside of themselves who have to change in order for their lives to change. And one of the questions that I asked Nicholas, and I'll ask you, if you are living in pain, is why are you choosing to live in pain and waiting for everybody else to change when you could begin to take yourself out of that place if you are willing to get uncomfortable and change? And it could be something so simple. Change the way you look at your situation. Change one habit. Do something different during your day. One thing. That's it. It's very simple. But instead, change is so scary for so many people because, you know, we're hardwired. The brain doesn't like change. The brain doesn't like change. If you get up every day on one side of the bed for years, and then for whatever reason your partner's not there and you take over his side of the bed, somebody I know will tell me this, and you get out on their side of the bed, your brain is like, what the hell is going on here? We always get out on that side of the bed. Even if it's something so simple, the brain is aware that something is different, and it may or may not like it. And so I bring this up because I think a lot of us, despite how much pain we are currently living in, we are choosing to stay in that pain because if we were to change even a little bit of what's going on in our lives, a lot of things could potentially happen. And there's a lot of fear around those things. So I wrote a long list of the things that people fear when we talk about change. The first is fear of disrupting the status quo. right? So as miserable as you are right now, you may want to change, but the thought of disrupting what you have created for yourself scares the hell out of you, right? You just so you don't do it. Judgment from others. This is a big one, right? What will your parents say? What will your spouse say? What will your friends say? What will society say if you were to do something to change so that you can be happy? You think that it's going to be too hard. Yes, I'm here to tell you that change is super hard, but you have to ask yourself, what's more important, right? Is it more important for me to stay miserable and be able to bitch about that for the rest of my life, or am I willing to get uncomfortable? Both are uncomfortable. Am I willing to get uncomfortable and start changing so I can be happy? Is what I want really meant for me? I've heard that a lot, right? They say they have this deep yearning desire to do something big, do something great, change their life, and then they second guess themselves and say, well, maybe it's really not meant for me. And so that's the story that they tell themselves and they don't go for it. What if I fail? You know what? You probably will fail. And if you fail, that's friggin' awesome, because it means that you're trying, right? Those people who don't fail, they're often not trying. They're not doing anything, and they're shouting from the sidelines, oh, look, you lost. It didn't work out. Told you so. But meanwhile, they're not doing the things. Let's see. What if I do the thing? What if I follow my heart and it really turns out not to be the thing that I thought it was going to be? That's okay. That's okay. Finding that out is better than sitting in the cocoon of pain that you have created, wondering whether or not that thing would be for you, right? You got to find out. So go for it and try. What if it takes too long? It may or may not take long, and that's okay, because it's part of the journey. You have to release that. You have to say, you can't say, I've heard people tell me, well, I want to lose 50 pounds in 3 months. And when 3 months comes and goes and they've only lost 20, they just give up because it's going to take too long. You have to release the time constraint that you're putting on yourself. And one last one that I'll say is, what if I lose friends? When you are changing, you may or may not lose your friends. And if you lose your friends, as you blossom and you grow into the person you've always meant, you were meant to be, that's okay, right? If they stay with you on your journey, that's awesome. But you always have to ask yourself, what's more important? Is it more important for me to stay where I am and be completely miserable and stay in this painful situation that you may or may not have created, but you always have the choice to see things differently as to where you are and what's possible for you? Do you want to stay there? Because that's easier, because you know what this pain is like. Versus taking steps to come out of that pain, even though it's going to be completely uncomfortable and foreign to you, knowing that at some point, regardless of how long it takes you, that you will be able to unravel all these stories and these beliefs that have kept you where you are. Like, what's more important to you, right? Are you willing to stop living in pain? You have to ask yourself this question. One of the big reasons I wanted to share this is because, as a coach, I used to see this a lot when I was in the fitness industry, and I would see a lot of people in the beginning of January, right? They would tell me, this is the year, I'm going to change my body, I'm going to change my eating habits, my exercise habits, I'm going to train for that big race. It's this big thing, and they have it in their head that they're going to change, right? And instead, what ends up happening is there's a lot of internal resistance, and they end up staying exactly where they are, and they stay stuck because of all of the things that I just listed before when it comes to change. And now that I'm doing this work around empowerment and life coaching, I get so many people who reach out to me as a result of these videos and my posts and referrals, and they say that, they're so miserable and they just want help to help them change. And I may say to them, well, have you thought about this? Or they may come to a conclusion that, oh, wow, I could change. I could feel better. and they need some help to get them from point A to point B. And instead, that's just too scary for them. They see the path, but it's just too scary, and they would rather stay in the familiar pain that they're in now than take a chance and come out of it. So, coming full circle back to the discussion I had with my son, Nicholas, about him saying that change was so hard and that he wanted others to change. This is a conversation that he and I are still having. He's 17, and there are people who, I'm 52, there are people who are older than me who are still struggling with this concept of everybody else needs to change to make me happy. When the reality is you could make yourself so much happier in the moment if you stop waiting for everybody else to change and you make the choice to take action, to think differently, to behave differently, to see things differently. That's you changing. And there's so much power in that, because at any given time, we can make the choice to change. If this resonates with you, please reach out to me. I cannot tell you how many people they listen to my videos and they go, wow, this really resonated, and then they don't take action. Or they take the same action they've always taken, expecting a different result, and the things don't change. If you need help, please DM me. It's why I do these videos. I want to help people just be courageous and just boldly change their lives in ways that they did not think were possible. So you can be a much, much happier person and have a better life. I say it all the time. We have one life, and you can create it and make it awesome. And you don't need to wait for anybody else's permission or anybody else to change to make that happen. I hope you guys have a great week. Again, love to hear your thoughts on what you think about this. If there is somebody who you think needs to hear this, please share. Or if there's somebody who you think would benefit from talking to me, please reach out. I appreciate you all. So grateful that you are a part of my tribe and my community. And I need my glasses to see who's in. I always love to see Lorraine, Doug, Jacqueline, Alex, Noreen, Kirk, Janine, Brenda. Thank you so, so much for watching. And I hope you guys have a great week. Talk to you soon. Bye.